But at this time, I want to take the opportunity on behalf of DOMLEC to commiserate with the persons of Petite-Savanne for their loss and the other communities as well. We too at DOMLEC have lost one of our employees as a result of Erika at Petite-Savanne. He passed away in the disaster, and we also have another employee of ours, Mr. Richard Barron, who was hospitalized but has been discharged from the hospital, but he's been housed with us at our house in Montrose. And so at this time as well, I want to big up all my DOMLEC employees, particularly my linemen, my technicians, my engineers, all of DOMLEC staff, and all of Dominica, here and abroad. My report will look at two areas: generation and transmission and distribution. Let's look at generation first. For the diesel power stations, that is Sugarloaf and Foncolé, were relatively unaffected. The same cannot be said for our hydro system. At Loda, we had initial flooding caused by the overwhelming of the barrier drainage system by debris. And so although the flooding was not as extensive in Loda as we had first thought. Trafalgar, unaffected except for a little bit of debris. But Padu is the one where we have some problems. Currently, we are undertaking cleanup so that we can do assessments. The diversion weir and the intake facility piping system at Trafalgar, which feeds Padu, was severely damaged and undermined by the river. The HV switchgear building and transformers unaffected. The turbine house at Padu, the retaining wall and outlet weir system have been damaged to the roof. Internal flooding through mud and debris. And as such, we've not been able to fully clear out, we've not been able to determine the integrity of the generating sets themselves. And so when the cleanup has been concluded, we will do that. The Clark River system, which is the feeder system for the freshwater leak, has been extensively damaged. The intake weir and the piping systems. So currently there's no supply to the freshwater leak from Clark's River for the hydro. And we've had issues for the generation with the fuel supply system, but because of the badging, this has been working very well. And so I will not really go into that. Another issue I want to highlight, though, is the fact that because two of our employees who live at Paradise Valley were affected, two of our operators, we've had operating staff issues at Foncolé. And so DOMLEC has been impacted. So that's generation. I know most persons want to hear distribution. That's what people want to hear. 9,511 customers never lost power during the event. 73.5% of our customers were affected by Erika, and we are pleased to report at this time that 97% of our customers have power, and our customer base is 35,588 customers. 8 out of our 10 feeders were affected in whole or in part. 6 of the 8 feeders have been fully restored. We know that we've seen significant damage to homes and the LV circuits in Coolibestry, Coliho, Rivière Zurich, Czech Hall Valley, Resource Estate, Petite-Savanne. We had difficulty accessing Daly's, but because of the use of the helicopter, we were able to make it to Daly's, and Daly's now has power. So the Portsmouth feeder is fully restored, the Belfast feeder, the Lower Goodwill feeder, the Picard bypass, the North feeder, and the East feeder. They have been fully restored. Sugarloaf East feeder is not fully restored. We have a break in our HV network at the airport, and the airport has been isolated as a result of that. The South feeder has not been fully restored because we still have areas like Stowe and Point Kerry, Bagadale, which are without power, and these are being dealt with even as we speak. So at this time, I need to give us an update of the areas that are without power. And these are Dibic, Stowe, Fort Saint-Jean, Bagatelle, Petit Savan. We are currently working on Dibic and Stowe. Our guys are in those areas scouting. The intention is to, especially in Dibic and Stowe, by the end of the day, to power up Dibic and Stowe. Clark Hall. There are down poles at Clark Hall, and access to provide repairs is still problematic, and so repairs are pending. Coolibistry. There are down LV poles at Coolibistry. Work is presently ongoing there. Some areas of Coolibistry, like Plaza Whale, does have power. We're trying to give power to that area just a little bit above the cemetery. That area there is not compromised, so we're trying to give power there at least by tomorrow. And so Hartford Estate, we repaired today. Upper Larond, we repaired today. Rivière Cyric, Montjean is without power. Well, some areas of them are without power, because they're even when we reconstruct the HV system, the LV system, there are areas that will still be out. And so we will continue to work to deal with that. Formel, on the route to Castle Bruce, there's a spur line feeding a settlement deep into the valley that had to be isolated, and it needs to be scouted. Despot. Also, there's a small area in Despot which has been affected due to a downspan of ABC wire. This is being addressed and will be resolved shortly. In Campbell, there are still a few customers off due to a fallen HV pole, and work is pending. We want to indicate to our customers that though your area may be energized, because of certain issues that we may have with certain sections, we cannot energize. And so Paradise Valley in Bath Estate and Checkhall Valley have been energized. However, due to the effects of the water on the electrical installations, a large number of customers have been isolated because of flooding to their homes. And so we really will not be able to reconnect these customers because the electrical installations have been compromised. And from a safety issue, we will not reconnect. And so these customers will really need to go through the procedure of having their homes recertified by the electrical division in order to be reconnected. The same will apply to Coolibistry after restoration has been done. We want to point out to you that there are a few large customers who we had to isolate, meaning to say they don't have power, due to damage, and that's the Melville Hall Airport, Marcus Rum Factory, Layo Valley Inn, and Petro Carib. As I said earlier, we've restored 97% of the island, but an estimated 1,070 customers continue to be affected.